Who's running the House right now?
Yeah, Blake, you and I have talked about this a couple times, and I heard it articulated today from a Republican member in a way that I thought was the best articulation yet, which is this is not a House Freedom Caucus thing. Keep in mind, the Freedom Caucus got together with the Main Street folks to cut a compromise. That would be like me and Charlie Dent sitting down to do that. Those things are happening in the House. So it's not an organized opposition. It's a bunch of caucuses of one. There's 20 people who all want something different. This is not a group of people who have come together and said, give us this and we'll vote for it. It's every person for him or herself. And that is even more difficult for Kevin McCarthy to deal with. Some folks have just decided that this is going to make them rich, it's going to make them famous, it's going to allow them to run for higher office. Some folks are properly motivated. It's always difficult to say which is which. But this is not a coordinated effort against Kevin McCarthy. The Freedom Caucus actually has come to the table with a compromise and got that shot down by folks even further to their right. It could be very difficult for Kevin to negotiate his way through this.
Let me ask you, Mick, is the right flank of this party, who knows if they end up, winning the war on all this stuff, but are they notching up battle victories? For example, Kevin McCarthy has now had to move right, and he's caved on a couple different occasions. And then consider this headline, the other chamber from the Hill, Tuberville on Schumer advancing nominations. I forced his hand. So you got Tommy Tuberville getting nominations put on the Senate floor. You got Kevin McCarthy saying, go home, I can't make a deal. The right flank of this party, again, I don't know who wins the war here, but they got some battle victories, do they not?
Yeah, but at the same time, I think Anthony Gonzalez is one of the people who's raised the objections. He's not a right-wing, I don't think he's a member of the Freedom Caucus. He's concerned about border security because that's where he's from. So like I said, this is not a coordinated effort of the far right wing. Are there a bunch of folks out there who are involved with this? Yes, but this is a breakdown in sort of the operation of the House. It's a function of the fact that there's only a 4 or 5 vote margin that Kevin McCarthy has on a good day. So I hear what the narrative is, and part of the narrative is right, but it's more than that. If it was just that, then I think what would happen is the Senate would pass a bill on a bipartisan basis, and they'd force it down the House's throat. I think that might be where we get eventually, but I just don't see that happening yet because this is not playing out the way that previous shutdowns have.
I'll take it as a little bit of a compliment that you said part of that narrative is right. I guess I'm on to maybe a little something there, Mick. What about it, Charlie?
I agree with Mick on this point that at the end of the day, the Senate is going to drive the bus. They're going to pass a bill that funds the government at current levels, provides for disaster relief, maybe a little border money, and funds the Ukraine effort. They're going to send it to the House. And at this point, Kevin McCarthy has to make a decision because right now the House is almost ungovernable. These 20 folks, however many it is, are really humiliating the majority. They don't speak for the majority. Kevin McCarthy could simply cut a deal with Hakeem Jeffries. Right. They could pass a bipartisan bill to send it to the Senate, but afraid to do that because he knows he'll have a rearguard action.
Kevin, real quick, you surprised that Chuck Schumer caved?
I think, he has the realization that, for the first time, we would have a chairman of the Joint Chiefs space vacant, and he needed to put some action behind it. And we got 2 more chiefs as part of that package.
All right. It's interesting to see the power dynamic and really the power struggle right now at the top.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.